makes plans for Miami.
Today, from Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado, it's the AFC Divisional Playoff game. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Denver Broncos. Today's game is brought to you by Today's Chevrolet. See today's Chevy. Drive today's Chevy. Live today's Chevy. By Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name in taste. And by IBM. Whatever business you are in, IBM Business Computer System can help you run it.
Mile High Stadium in Denver. This emotional pit is ready. The winner today meets the Miami Dolphins. Congratulations to Mike Ditka, the Chicago Bears. They are in the playoffs. The weather could not be more perfect, nor the field in better condition. And to get a feeling of what it's like down on the turf, a man who knows his way, let's go down to Merlin Olsen.
Dick, we can see the game better from up in the press box, but believe me, you can feel it better down here. You can feel the excitement of these players as they came out of the locker room onto the field, the anticipation, and the electricity in this crowd is just unbelievable. This stadium is built so it sits right on top of you. You can see them and you can feel them. The track is going to be fast. The field is absolutely perfect. The weather could not be better for a game.
I expect you to get into one of those warm-up pumping moves of your leg. You're ready to go.
I may not come up there and join you at all. I may stay down here.
Let's go now to the whole premise of this game. As we talked about it earlier, Dan Reeves and Chuck Noll said the defense has got to stop the run.
Well, both of these teams rode strong defenses into this playoff game, Dick. Two guys who are instrumental, Mike Merriweather for the Steelers, and on the other side, Tom Jackson. These are two of the most active and aggressive linebackers in the NFL. They'll be key to what happens today.
All right, let's talk about some game breakers. First for the Pittsburgh Steelers, their two wide receivers, that great veteran John Stallworth, who had his best year ever, and the brilliant rookie Louis Lips.
They really are game breakers. Great speed and great talent. We've talked for years about Swan and Stallworth, and here are Stallworth and Lips breaking the records that those two had set.
And on the other side, two 1,000-yard club members, Winder and Steve Watson. That's the first time in 25 years Denver's been able to accomplish that.
Well, they need to get the break opens with Winder. He's got a hammer so they can open the way for the passing game so that Elway can get the ball up on top to Watson. Watson, one of the most athletic receivers that you will see in the NFL.
The Pittsburgh Steelers will kick it off. Gene Lang and Gerald Wilhite deep for the Denver Broncos. Chuck Noll. He has been in 20 playoff games. His record 14-6. Reeves in his second chance. The Miami Dolphins wait the winner in the Orange Bowl. 75,000 partisan crowd. Gary Anderson will kick it off for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wilhite to the 21-yard line, maybe the 22. And here comes the offense for the Denver Broncos. John Elway, Jack's son on the field. It'll be Brian. We're going to be watching him. Howard and Bishop, the guards. Lanier and Studdard are the tackles. Kay, a good blocking rookie tight end. Butch Johnson and Steve Watson are the wide receivers for Denver. Elway, who has great speed and mobility, as he showed at Seattle 2 weeks ago. He has Wright as his H-back and Winder, a 1,000-yard rusher. Elway to Winder. And Winder, who is also a good receiver, to the 28-yard line. He caught 44 passes this year. Here's that Steeler defense. Always known for their rock-hard defensive play. The Pittsburghers line up this way with Dunn in the middle, Goodman and Nelson on the outside. The linebackers, Mike Merriweather on the way to the Pro Bowl. David Little, Robin Cole, he's in the Pro Bowl this year, and Hinkle. The back four, Woodruff and Washington at the corners. The veteran Donnie Shell, he usually is toughest in the big games, and Eric Williams at safety. Second down. And about 4. Elway fumbles the snap from center and drops on it at the 25-yard line. Well, there are some key matchups, Merlin Olsen, and where will you be focused early?
We'll look right in the center. Bill Bryan, the best of the offensive linemen, against Dunn, the strongest of the defensive linemen. Now, people to watch on offense, Elway with his running, Winder, and Watson. They're the key people offensively. Defensively, Merriweather, Shell, and Cole. We'll have the cameras on them a good part of the day. I just about got out of breath coming up there. The altitude got me, Dick.
Oh, come on now. Third down. And a long 5 for Denver. Both wide receivers right with Johnson in the slot. Elway's first throw. He guns it complete to Watson. First down at the 38. Steve Watson, who grew up in Baltimore and idolized the great Raymond Berry, and he has many of the same articulate moves.
Does not have blazing speed, but working on Woodruff. Woodruff gives him a cushion here, and he gets to the line. Excellent job. You saw how much room he had to make that play, and Elway has such a strong arm that those defenders cannot give that much room to these Denver receivers.
Back to the single back offense. 2 tight ends, the H-back being Jim Wright. He's in motion. Winder. Hit hard. Number 56, Robin Cole, very nearly loosening the ball from the grasp of Winder. Cole moved to the inside, Merlin, and he seems to have found a home there.
Well, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have known for a long time he's a better inside linebacker, but for years they were in a 4-3, and the man inside was none other than Jack Lambert. You can't move Lambert out. Now, when they went to the 3-4, he finally got his chance inside, and in his first year has proven to be an outstanding inside linebacker, a starter in the Pro Bowl, and he says he's just learning. Now, that's interesting.
And, of course, filled a big gap this year along with David Little with the injury to Lambert. He is not here in Denver today. And Elway doesn't like the defense, and it'll be 2nd and 9. We have our first timeout. So here in Mile High Stadium, Elway, a fumbled snap from center, and now calls time. No score early.
It's Chevrolet's New Year kickoff. Chevy dealers are kicking off the
postseason play. The Broncos are 2-4, and of course the Steelers with those 4 Super Bowl rings, and there's still 3 players in uniform today that would like that dream of one for the thumb predicted by Joe Green to come true. 2nd and 9. Elway. This is what he did to Seattle. But Pittsburgh comes up to stop him after only a 2-yard gain. Number 53, Brian Hinkle, a 3rd-year backer from Oregon.
Excellent speed among the linebackers for the Steelers. Hinkle runs about a 5.6. Merriweather about a 5.5. And you saw him closing quickly on Elway, who's an excellent runner. Elway has averaged 4.5 yards per carry on the year.
There you see the Steelers' defense, AFC rank. And that's what they're going to be counting upon today. Stop the run.
They would love to keep Denver in 3rd and long situations like they're in right now.
Elway, down he goes. That'll have to be credited as a sack as Harvey Clayton, 33, on a corner blitz.
Clayton coming off the left corner so quickly that no one picked him up. The Steelers like to overload in a zone. They'll put enough people over there that you simply cannot block them. Merriweather was coming. He was picked up. But Clayton, number 33, around the outside, and Elway could not get away from him.
Chris Norman to punt, 40-plus average, but much better here at Mile High. And back to receive the dangerous Lewis Lips. He has 1 touchdown on a punt return this year. He stands at the Pittsburgh 20. The only man in the league to return touchdowns on punts, receiving, and running. Norman, end over end. Lips, 21. 25. And down at the 27 or 8-yard line. Good coverage by the Broncos. A 42-yard punt. A 6-yard return. The Steelers have the ball for the first time. 11 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Crowd chanting defense, and the defense will be facing this Pittsburgh Steeler offense. The center, all-pro again, Mike Webster with Wolfley, a rookie, Wiskoski, a rookie, Hilton, the offensive line, Stallworth, and Lips on the outside. Benny Cunningham, okay, he's starting. Now maybe Nelson. Nelson, another rookie, starting at tight end with Pollard and Abercrombie. Behind quarterback Mark Malone. Malone starter 9 of the last 10 games. He's 6-3 as a starter. And on the ground, a gain of about 8 yards. as Dennison finally brings down
Pollard running the ball up inside, Dick. Pollard driving straight up the middle behind the block of Abercrombie.
Carter, the nose guard, Jones and Chavis on the outside. Active linebackers, the inspirational leader, Jackson, Busick, the leading tackler, Dennison and Ryan. Harden and Wright are at the corners, and Foley and Smith at safety. Not one of the Denver players made the Pro Bowl, and yet they're second best in the league in stopping the other team from scoring. Abercrombie, no gain. Well, you said on the other side we're going to look at the nose guard and the blocking center. How about this time?
Anytime you talk about running game, you start right in the center. An all-pro center, Webster, against a muscular nose tackle, Reuben Carter. Some of the people to look at offensively for Pittsburgh, Abercrombie we've talked about, the two game breakers, Stallworth and Lips, and on the defensive side, Jackson, Foley, and Rulon Jones, the best pass rusher.
Third down, 2. Malone down at the 24. He fumbled. Was he down? No, it's a recovered fumble for the Broncos. Andre Townsend recovered the ball. Rulon Jones forced the fumble.
And Chuck Noll cannot believe what has happened. The Denver defense living up to their reputation as they force the turnover and recover the fumble. Malone taking too much time, and he's not terribly mobile back there. Rulon Jones runs him down and knocks that ball away. Right there, the Denver defense pounces on it, and they have the football on the 23-yard line. Watch it again. Townsend, number 61, the man who got down on top of that football.
So the first break goes to the Broncos, who went 13-3 because of those turnovers. They were second best to Seattle in the league. Winder gathered by David Little and Gary Dunn. Little from Florida, the younger brother of former All-Pro guard Larry Little, and Dunn. A lot of the Pittsburgh people felt he should have made it to the Pro Bowl.
Well, they really felt that he had a fantastic season for them, and you talk to players around the league who had to bump noses with him. Has great strength, occupies the middle of that defense, and Larry Little has just done a tremendous job. Imagine having to step in and take the place of Jack Lambert. Now, I don't know if I'd want that job, Dick.
Well, that's living in the shadow, David Little, of his brother Larry, and then the shadow of Lambert. Now he's on the main stage. Second down, 9. Incomplete, and it almost intercepted by Woodruff. That ball thrown so hard that the tight end Kay couldn't handle it, and neither could Woodruff. Even on the ricochet, it still had too much velocity and handcuffed the Pittsburgh defender.
I got to believe that John Elway is still suffering from butterflies out there. Said it in that game in Seattle, took him a full half to get over it. Here he said he thought it might be less than that, but I think the energy and the adrenaline just caused him to gun that ball too hard. He's also throwing into receivers and defenders who are looking back into the sun. That's got to be terribly difficult down there right now.
84, Clint Sampson is in, along with Watson, Alexander, and Johnson. 4 wide receivers, shotgun 3rd and 9. Incomplete, intended for Sampson. And the field goal unit will come on the field for Denver. Rich Carlos. We're seeing the 2 most accurate field goal kickers in all of the NFL of those who have kicked 50 successfully or more. Carlos is second only to his opponent today, Gary Anderson of the Steelers. And while he had his difficulties late in the year, hit a couple of uprights that may have cost Denver wins, he certainly came back against San Diego and Seattle, and his season was an excellent one, 21 of 28 total. This one will be 39 yards. And the barefooted kicker is wide to the right, no good. So the Steelers duck the proverbial bullet as a fumble at the 23 of the Steelers, and the Broncos can't capitalize.
You must be able to take advantage of those early opportunities. You get the big turnover and a relatively easy field goal for Carlos, who has good range, but you saw it drifting off to the right.
Well, a Happy New Year to the fans in Denver, and a fumble by Malone, and the Broncos have it. Will it count? There is a flag down. Let's check the penalty. The Broncos apparently have fallen on that bad exchange between center Tom Jackson. A big game player comes up with the ball. Now let's check the penalty.
It's going to be a penalty on Pittsburgh.
Number 81. Decline. First down. So Pittsburgh gets a second chance, almost in the exact spot. The first one at the 23. This one is theirs at the 22.
It looked like a fumbled exchange right there. Malone never got the football up from Webster, and the alert Jackson, and that is a way to describe this Denver defense. They are terribly alert. They jump on that football, and look at those opponents' fumbles recovered. Seattle with 25, Denver with 24.
+2 today. So Winder, the lone setback behind Elway, at the 22 of the Steelers, right in motion. Winder. And he plows for about 5 before David Little and a posse of white shirts can bring him down.
Dick, one of the things that you know about this Pittsburgh defense, they play run on first down. And they have been hurt during the year by quarterbacks who would go after them with the passing plays. So far, Denver has run the football almost repeatedly on first down. And on that down, they picked up a good 4 yards, but they have not been getting much yardage on those first down runs.
Actually, as they measure now, it's 2nd and 5 for Elway. Dumps it off to Winder, and a good play by Woodruff on the corner. He took the outside away, and despite the fact by Winder could not make more than 2 yards on the completed pass.
You saw Woodruff giving a lot of room on the outside a few moments ago to Steve Watson, but did not give that kind of room. Made an excellent reaction to the ball, closed it off. It's going to be 3rd and about 3.5 yards to go.
Watson and Alexander to the right. Split left is Butch Johnson. Gerald Wilhite in the game. He's the wing left. Lots of time, and wide open is Winder. 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Yeah, what a valuable asset this Winder is in his 3rd year out of Southern Mississippi. He can run it and he can catch it.
Wilhite in to open that up. 3 wide receivers and a good receiver up at the wing, but it was Winder who just went in and hooked up there, and you saw Hinkle, number 53, slip as he reacted to that throw. I don't think he would have stopped the first down anyway.
4 completions for Elway, 3 of those to Winder. 1st and goal at the 8. Winder tripped up and did not get to the line of scrimmage as Edmund Nelson in his 3rd year from Auburn down low with Donnie Shell there to secure the play at closer to the 9-yard line where it'll be 2nd and goal. Now the Steelers have not allowed a touchdown in the first quarter in the last 13 games, so they've been tough early defensively, and they really are getting the test today in that Chuck Noll's club has coughed up the ball twice inside their own 25.
Well, if they can avoid a score here, they will indeed have the momentum on their side early in this ball game.
Right in motion. Here they come. Elway wide open. Jim Wright, touchdown. A touchdown pass all year until the last game in Seattle. He got a big one there, and he opens his scoring today.
He came dangerously close to losing that football. Let's look at the pressure from Merriweather, who's coming hard. But Elway uses his speed to get outside. That's the mobility that this defense is so frightened of. You saw Wright almost bobble that football, was able to control it.
Rich Carlos hits the extra point, and the Broncos lead 7-0. So a bad exchange between the center Webster and the quarterback Malone. Jackson recovered the fumble, and on 2nd and goal from the 9, Elway to Wright, and a 7-0 lead. And coming up, the Bob Hope Classic as the 1985 golf tour begins here on NBC. The 9-yard pass for the payoff to Jim Wright. 7-0 and Carlos to kick off. Rich Ehrenberg deep for Pittsburgh. Beautiful high kick. Ooh, he's got a big hole up the middle. But it closed, and down he goes at the 27-yard line.
Dick, one of the things that I think might be happening out there, the Steelers have tried to alter their snap count. Ehrenberg's still on the field. As you see, the cameras pick him up, shaken up, obviously. But one of the things that the Steelers have tried to do, Denver jumps around a great deal on defense. They've tried to alter their snap count, either going on a quick count or on a long count, so they can force Denver to end up in a defense they don't want to be in if they go quick, or get a chance to react to that defense if they go slow. The end result is that they have bothered themselves.
Ehrenberg helped off, hit in the face. New Year's Day, big football day here on NBC, and we have late for you the Orange Bowl. Yard line, first down for the Steelers. They've been playing around the 20 to the 30 and have fumbled twice, once at the 23, once at the 22, and now trail 7-0. Malone dumps it off. Abercrombie, 33-yard line. Gain of about 6. Dennis Smith, the safety man from Southern California, will be rooting for his alma mater, the Rose Bowl against Ohio State on Tuesday.
A long snap on that play. Malone took that one safely. He wants the short pass here. And I'll tell you, if Abercrombie wasn't such a fine athlete, he would have missed that ball. Had to turn all the way around to get it, Dick.
He was looking for it inside. The ball was thrown outside. Abercrombie made the adjustment. Second down, 4. Abercrombie driving to the 48-yard line, and that's why the Steelers are so excited about this young man from Baylor University. When he was within a tackle of going all the way.
Tremendous blocking on the offensive line. The Steelers will trap you to death up front. They came with a tackle trap on that play, coming in from the outside. Watch the trapper coming from the left side of your picture, right there. Number 63, Wolfley, right there, knocking a man down, making room for Abercrombie, who exploded into that hole. The man he talked to, Gostowski, 53.
First down at the 48. 7-0 Denver. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Into the flat to Pollard. 50. And he is to the 45 of Denver. The first trip into Bronco territory for the Steelers. A 7-yard pass to Frank Pollard. Smith again made the tackle, and Pollard, also from Baylor. It's an all-Baylor backfield behind Malone. He led the team in rushing with 851 yards. Has learned to be a pretty good receiver.
He certainly has. And he talked to me in the locker room just before the game. He said, "I'm really sorry I couldn't get 1,000 yards." He said, "That was my goal. I'm sorry I didn't get it." He'll add to his totals on this game today, Dick.
Second and a short 3. Abercrombie loses a couple. Dennis Smith joining Rick Dennison. Dennison from Colorado State, a free agent, number 55. He has been perhaps the biggest surprise in the development of this young Denver team.
Here are the leading tacklers, Busick and Dennison. You see them, number 1 and number 3. They were the 2 biggest surprises for Dan Reeves, he said. They came on so strong at those 2 inside linebacking positions. And look, Steve Foley, a safety, the number 2 tackler for this Denver team. Actually, 2 safeties, each one. Well, there's a broken nose on Ehrenberg. You see him trying to stop the bleeding. Now, that hurts. He's the 3rd down back for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But I'll bet we'll see him again before this game is through. 3rd and 5 from Malone. Over the middle, complete to Pollard. And Frank Pollard has a first down at the 30 of Denver. And Malone just getting rid of that one.
Pressured again by Rulon Jones. Rulon coming in over the top of Pete Rostowski. And there you saw Pollard going out of your screen on the bottom. You'll see him coming back in, getting away from Jackson on that play. Jackson couldn't keep up with him as he broke across the middle. Nice play. Isolate on the linebacker. Get the pass to him. Malone doing a good job on this drive of picking at the Denver defense.
Using his backs, he's 3 for 3 passing. Abercrombie. to the 26-yard line. A reminder, we will be selecting the Bud Light Most Valuable Player in today's game, and a $1,000 contribution to charity in that man's honor. We'll announce that later in the fourth quarter.
Louis Wright coming up from his corner position, forcing well on that last play. Did make the tackle, but it was a fair gain. About 2nd and 6, isn't it, Dick?
At the 26-yard line, 7-0. Denver leads on a 9-yard pass play. Elway to right after a fumble recovery at the Pittsburgh 22. Steelers trying to get even. Stallworth left, Lips to the right. Wide receivers haven't caught a pass yet. Here's a little fake reverse. It is a reverse to Lips. But the Broncos weren't fooled a bit. Tom Jackson, 57, staying at home with fellow linebacker Steve Busick.
Abercrombie will carry this ball around. The play was kind of broken up a little bit. You can see the Lips arrived a little late. I think Abercrombie is supposed to go out further, and because the play was mistimed, it was much easier to read by the defense. Two of the linebackers read it quickly and closed it down for a little bit of a loss.
Looked like Dennis Smith was coming up on a force, and Abercrombie wasn't sure he'd be able to even get the ball to Lips. Complete to Abercrombie.
He's going to be awfully close.
Depends on where they mark it. If it's inside the 20, it's a first down, and that's where they have marked it. First down for Pittsburgh, and a clutch throw and catch.
One of the things that Pittsburgh coaches and players talk about repeatedly is how quickly Malone has come along in his ability to read and recognize defenses. You've got to remember that Chuck Noll, one of the few coaches in the NFL who allows his quarterback to call most of the plays. Now, on that particular he sent a play in. He will do that more with Malone than he would have with a Terry Bradshaw, but Malone calling most of his own plays.
That's remarkable in that he has had really very little game experience. In fact, when he first played with the Steelers, he was a wide receiver. Bradshaw connected with him and what is still a record reception. Good protection. Into the end zone, intercepted and dropped. Louis Wright appeared to have that one picked off and couldn't hang on. Wright was voted the top defensive player by his teammates this year here in Denver. That's a high honor because it could have gone to any one of 11 men.
Let's watch Darrell Nelson. Young rookie here makes a very big play at the end of this particular down. Now, the interception is had right there. Now, watch him reach up and slap that ball out of the defender's hands. Now, that's just a good alert play by a rookie on that particular down. Here's another shot of it. Just stripped it right out of Louis Wright's hands. Otherwise, interception, they bring it out to 20. It's Denver's ball.
2nd and 10 from just inside the 20. Malone from Arizona State. Draw to Abercrombie, and look at the power.
Oh, my.
A gain of about 8 for Abercrombie, maybe even 9. He was their #1 pick a couple of years ago, but just never could find a place. They had Franco Harris and Pollard, and they had Greg Hawthorne. They moved Hawthorne around, finally traded him, and finally in the last 5 games, Abercrombie has become a regular, and he has delivered.
With Ehrenberg on the bench, he'll see even more action in this game because he'll probably stay in on 3rd down. There is Joe Collier, the defensive mastermind of this Denver defense, and this is where his defense is toughest, inside the 20-yard line going in.
And tough enough that Malone didn't like what he saw. Too many orange shirts in the wrong position, and he has called time with just 19 seconds remaining. A couple hours ago, this is how Mile High Stadium looked, and then the transformation. And all the color of this sellout crowd of 75,000.
And how much orange is there in the stadium?
You almost get arrested if you don't wear it. In fact, one of the judges on Monday is going to wear his bright orange robe. It's his playoff robe in court here in Denver. It is rather contagious. They boo no-shows here. They only get a few, 100, 200 a game that don't use their tickets. All right, here it is. 3rd down and a short 2. Malone fighting the noise of this crowd.
He's trying to call an audible. There it is, outside. No.
And he doesn't make it. Elton Beals, a rookie from Tulane, knocked down by Steve Foley.
And this is where the injury hurts them right here. Ehrenberg ordinarily would have that position. Elton Beals goes in, not as well prepared for that responsibility. We talked about Foley as a tackler. Look how quickly he responded to that little toss, and he's a deadly one-on-one tackler. Look at that play. Took the legs right out from underneath that back.
And that is the end of the first quarter. Gary Anderson and the field goal unit was coming on for Pittsburgh. They'll go for 3 to start the next quarter. Second quarter, Denver leading 7-0. Gary Anderson from South Africa went to Syracuse, and he has as strong a leg as there is in this league. Some feel he'll eventually kick one 64 yards. This one is a chip shot from 28. Ooh, he just slid it inside that right upright. Anderson gives the Steelers their first points of the game.
Important to convert, to put those points on the board. Anderson almost fell prey to the same devil that put Carlos's foot. First kick outside. Let's watch the holder, Craig Colquitt. Look at him spin that ball to try and put the laces back toward the goalpost so that there won't be a problem with having those laces going the wrong direction. Look how dangerously close that ball was to sliding to the right, just as Carlos is kicking.
Well, it's snowy up there, but sunny, as most often it is down here in Denver. Actually, they don't get a lot of snow here in the city. The Tourist Bureau wanted us to remind folks of that. Anderson's kick is a deep one, and Lang will not run it out. He downs it, and it'll be the Broncos at their own 20-yard line. Quarterback John Elway. Boy, his heritage is something. As you know, his dad, Jack, is the head coach at Stanford, but his grandfather played football against the immortal Jim Thorpe of the Carlisle Indians. So Elway's relationship with this game goes a long way back. He's 5 for 7 to start.
Interesting, Dick, when you talk to him one-on-one, you don't get that commanding leadership kind of response from him, and yet you talk to his teammates, there's no question, when he is out on the field, he is in command, and he is the dominant personality for this Bronco offense.
Leading 7-3, start the second quarter. Throws on first down and hits Watson at the 28. Covered by Washington. Boy, he does have a rifle of an arm, but that was what everyone talked about last year. This year, the opponent talking about those marvelously quick feet of his.
Well, he has made a lot of big plays, has turned a lot of broken plays into big plays. And talking to Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator for this Pittsburgh team, he was more afraid of Elway's scrambling ability. He said that's how he makes his big plays. If we can keep him in the pocket, we feel we can control him.
Well, Tom Catlin, the Seattle defensive coordinator, said the same thing 2 weeks ago. It's his scrambles, and that indeed set up the win. That's a lateral pass, so White, this is an eligible pass. Wide open is Watson. 35, he picks up a blocker. 25, and out of bounds at the 20. Plays, and that one worked for 52 yards.
The old double pass. Throwing first to Wilhite, and it had to be a lateral to make the second pass legal. Here's Wilhite swinging to the outside. Look how far behind Elway is. Now Wilhite throws this ball, underthrows it, or it would have been a touchdown. Look how open Watson is, and Watson electing to come back and try and pick up blockers. Got the first down way down inside the 20.
Third time they've used that pass this year. Winder outside. Good running by Winder. Appeared to be trapped for a loss, and he wound up making 3. Let's look at that play again. Wilhite, had he thrown a clean spiral, would have had a touchdown.
We're looking at it from the other side of the field now. Quick toss out to Wilhite. And again, look, that ball just kind of fluttering up there. That's when you throw that in practice, all the players quack like ducks. You notice Watson again breaking over, trying to pick up blockers, and did get some extra yardage before Dwayne Woodruff, number 49, finally drove him out.
Well, you work on those plays, and they're fun during practice, and when they come through for you in a game, that has to be an emotional as well as a gain for the team. For a gain on the field of play.
No question about it.
2nd and 7. Watson. And that was was a lateral pass, but that was no intent for him to throw another. He's down for a loss of 3. It'll be 3rd and 10.
He's trying to take advantage, trying to get 2 blockers out in front of him. Keith Bishop from his guard position coming out, along with Butch Johnson trying to block, but no room for Watson. And the stiffening of this Pittsburgh Steelers defense means that Elway is looking at 3rd and long again.
And like hockey substitutions on the fly, Steelers bring in 4 new men as they change the defensive alignment on 3rd and 10.
They've got 4 defensive linemen. They will go with 6 defensive backs against 4 wide receivers. That's what they've got on the field right now.
In trouble, but Elway able to get away. 20. He's got a first down at the 8-yard line. Yard scramble and a first down for Elway.
John Elway, and this is the kind of play we mentioned, turning what looked to be a sure sack, a broken play. That was Keith Gary, number 92, trying to take him down, but Elway just ducked inside and headed upfield and used his good running ability to pick up that first down.
They spotted at the 7, so it's a 13-yard run by Elway, and that's what the Steeler defense is talking about. Winder gets a yard to the 6. Gary Dunn of Miami of Florida making the tackle. We'll see the Hurricanes and the Bruins to start our January 1st triple header. Miami and UCLA in the Fiesta, then Ohio State, USC at the Granddaddy in Pasadena, and finally Oklahoma and Washington in the Orange Bowl. So make your plans to be with us on New Year's Day. Early in the second quarter, it's 2nd and goal for the Broncos at the Pittsburgh 6. Is in the game. Elway to Paris. Right off his shoulder pads. Donnie Shell on the coverage for Pittsburgh.
I think Donnie Shell may have shaken that ball loose. If Paris hadn't dropped it, he may have heard Shell's feet as he comes up. Just a little toss into the flat. But watch the shot from number 31 right there. I don't know if he'd have been able to hang on to that football or not.
3rd and goal.
So far in the ball game, both teams have converted 2 of 4 third down situations. This certainly the most crucial, as Denver would love to be able to get this one into the end zone and not have to get settled for 3.
He went to his H-back, Jim Wright, for the first touchdown. He calls time in this situation. That's the second time that Elway has called time. Both young quarterbacks electing to use their timeouts instead of going against the defense they don't like. 12:03 left in the second quarter. Stadium in Denver, a big play, 3rd and goal at the 6.
A capital opportunity here for the Denver offense.
Well, they went to the trick play to set up this chance to score. Let's see what Elway's called upon. Going for the 6. Intercepted by the Steelers. Gary Dunn, the nose guard, brings it back to the 9-yard line. Elway threw it up for grabs.
They were coming right on top of him. You saw his eyes as he looked into that defense, and apparently he did not sense the blitz. At least he was not ready for it. They were on him so quickly, he just unloaded the football, tried to get it out in front of the receiver, but it dropped right in the hands of number 67, Gary Dunn. Watch the pressure. He's looking to his left, and when he looks back, that's Mike Merriweather. We told you to look out for Merriweather, and Elway knows why on this particular play. This one he's trying to lay out in front right here. I think he wants to get it to Winder. He simply overthrew, and Gary Dunn gets a lineman free and picks up the ball.
I want to ask you about that play after Pollard drives up to about the 17-yard line. Now, that was an unusual position to find a defensive nose tackle. Dunn was playing like a defensive back.
it appeared that they were using what we would call a mirror for that middleman. In other words, he was anticipating run, I think. He's drifting to the outside.
Look where he is.
He's expecting a rollout, and I think he's gone out there to be in position for that. Instead, he finds himself with a football in his hands. A most unlikely situation for a nose tackle.
Second down and 3. So 3 times the Broncos have been deep in the Pittsburgh end of the field, and they come away empty twice. It's 7-3 Broncos. Abercrombie driving to what appears to be close to a first down at the 21. Steve Busick replaced Randy Gradisher and leads the Broncos in tackles. Made that stop. There's Dunn getting a breath of air. Does it help at all in this mile-high country to use the oxygen?
Well, I think it might help you, at least in your head a little bit. I think that's where there's no question that this altitude is going to bother you, and I don't think you can acclimatize yourself in just a couple of days. You just got to gut it up and go, but if you think that oxygen helps, it probably does.
For almost 5 more. The Steelers are a long distance away from a possible lead as our goal line, actually our goal post camera
That
remotely.
does seem like a long ways when you look at it from way down in the other end zone. Of course, Malone would like to get his Steelers moving here. They're trying to hammer right up the center, Dick. They're going right at the middle of that Denver defense. Busick and Dennison inside, and Reuben Carter on the nose.
First pass to Lips, and despite the fact that he fell down, that great talent to bounce back to the feet and pick up the first down. So Lips has his first catch and 9 yards. What a rookie year he had, not only in receiving the ball and complimenting John Stallworth, but in his threat as a punt returner. And as you said earlier, Merlin, a lot of people may have missed the note that Stallworth and Swan, in their best year, did not have a season to equal the year that Stallworth and Lips had this year. First down, wide open is Stallworth. Oh, he slipped away from Harden, and fortunately for Harden, there wasn't enough sideline for Stallworth to keep on going. But that will be another first down and 12 yards. The first catch for Stallworth, who has caught a touchdown pass in 8 straight playoff games. Talk about a money hitter.
John Stallworth will usually be found on the left side, Lips on the right, at least on first and second down. In long yardage situations, anything goes for this team. But you saw Stallworth working on Harden. That's not a good matchup. Stallworth, a veteran, can really turn those defensive backs around.
Weegee Thompson, 87, is in for Pittsburgh in motion. He's a good blocker. Abercrombie, though, needs more help. And down he goes for a big loss. Foley and Busick.
Talking to Merle Moore before the game, the linebacker coach, he said, we're going to try and get penetration. We're going to do some blitzing early. Look at Foley up quickly. That's what he did. He broke the rhythm of the play, and that swarming defense. Look at all those orange shirts. Nowhere for Abercrombie to go.
The defense for the Broncos in taking the ball away. Recovering fumbles, 17 men shared. 13 different men had an interception, and 16 others were involved in sacks. What does that tell you?
That is team defense.
Dan Reeves, pupil of Tom Landry, one of those that Landry helped along. Mike Ditka is into the NFC Championship game. Look at the time for Malone to find Lips. And even Louis Wright can't cover a man that long. And it's a first down at the 38-yard line of Denver.
You put your finger right on it. You can't give a quarterback that much of an opportunity. His receivers have time to work. Malone looking left, and finally goes back to the right side to Lips. Lips had made a little outside move. Let's see what he did to get away from Louis Wright. Now, his primary move is there. He'll look back here. Yeah, look back. There he is. Sees that his quarterback is in trouble, and he's just trying to get open there. Got Louis turned around a little bit downfield.
25 yards for Lips on the catch. And here come the Steelers. They trail 7-3. 8:45 left in the first half. To Stallworth. And Stallworth has another Pittsburgh first down. Interesting strategy by Chuck Noll and Malone. They ran the ball. They ran the ball throughout the first quarter, and suddenly 4 big pass plays on this drive.
Oh, it's very interesting, Dick. Both teams talk so insistently about the necessity of being able to run the ball. I don't think it's so much that they have to run it as they have to be able to know that they can get that yardage rushing. If the other team cannot take the running game away from them, they still have all the options.
First down at the 25. You saw Noll's great record of getting in the playoffs. Some feel this may be his best coaching job ever. He had great teams that expected to get there. Many didn't think he had the talent this year. Malone and Lips had pulled up short as Wright had him well covered. What do you think about that, Noll's coaching job this year?
I'd have to agree. In fact, it's interesting to me that Chuck Noll has never been selected as the coach of the year.
Isn't that amazing?
4 Super Bowl championships. I think one of the reasons, Dick, he has never really catered to the press, to the media. In fact, he has kind of a low idea about our value and things altogether. But this man is the consummate coach, a dedicated coach, a low-profile coach. He cares about what his players are doing, what his team is doing. And with this young Pittsburgh defense and young Pittsburgh offense in particular, 6 rookies have started for him this year. That's amazing.
15 rookies on the team. It's 2nd and 10. Draw play to Abercrombie. He's wrapped up after a gain of 2 by Rick Dennison. And while we're talking about youth, this is certainly not an experiment, but the result of great youthful play this year, because Denver, too, has gone with a very young team. Almost 20 of them are younger than Elway, and he's only 24.
Dan Reeves, and again, Dan was selected as Coach of the Year by Sports Illustrated to honor the kind of responsibility and the kind of leadership he has given his team. But I think on both sides of the field, tremendous coaching during this 84 season.
Midway through the second quarter, a critical 3rd and 8. Good protection. Open is Abercrombie, and what a play! Number 48, Randy Robbins, a rookie from Arizona. There it is. The young man made a touchdown-saving deflection.
There are some passes that Mark Malone does not throw well. This is one that he does throw well. A takeoff pattern, trying to get it over the top of Randy Robbins. And look how high Robbins went to bat that pass away. That's a touchdown. Another inch or 2, and Randy Robbins would not have been able to reach that ball. That's great defense.
41-yard field goal attempt by Anderson. He barely made the 28-yarder. And he does the same thing, misses to the right. So the 2 most accurate kickers active in the NFL, Anderson and Carlos, have each missed today.
And strangely, the misses all to the right side of the goalpost. That ball just stayed out there, never did hook back to the inside.
Good snap, good hold.
He knew the minute he put his foot on that ball.
Colquitt spots the ball. The swing of the leg, and Anderson's face will tell you the rest. From another shot here in Denver, Bob Costas to review the first game activity as the Bears surprised Washington, and no surprise there, and almost an intercept by Eric Williams as good deep coverage on Butch Johnson. Mike Merriweather, he had 15 sacks this year.
Coming in right there on Paul Howard. He's got a face full of Howard's hand and just blasts Elway in the ribs as he gets there. But he had a few fingers in his face mask on that one from Paul Howard.
I like this quote. What do you dislike most about football? And Merriweather said the contact.
Like that kind of linebacker. He said, LT runs over people. I run around them.
Yeah, I think he's a little tougher than he's giving himself credit. 2nd down and 10, Denver. Whoops, they've been offside. Flag is down. Elway with a free play. Watson has about 11-yard play out of it. Out of bounds at the 34.
The official straddling that first down marker. And, of course, if it is against the Steelers, it will be a first down. important for a defense not to quit when a whistle is blown that way. Flag is thrown.
Both Gary Dunn and Keith Gary were offside, says referee Fred Wyant. First down, they'll take the play out at the 33.
Right at the top of your picture, you see the jump there. Elway using his voice. And I think that's what it is. He's giving them a loud barking count, staggering it, got them to jump in their eagerness.
Let's see if we can pick that up. Too much noise. Oh, that's a noise he doesn't like to hear, as he is smothered by Dunn and Little and company.
That hit by David Little, reminiscent of a stick he put on Marcus Allen in the Raider game on a critical fourth down situation. You see him there listed as the fourth leading tackler. Merriweather and Johnny Shell, again, a safety, the second leading tackler. Robin Cole and David Little, as you would expect. The tackling dominated by three linebackers, but kind of a surprise to see a safety in there. But Shell has always been accused of a linebacker and a safety, of being a linebacker in a safety's position.
Also a great clutch player when it comes to the intercepts. We want to talk about that. And there was both sides movement that time. Elway going long for Butch Johnson, and he has it at the 23 over Donnie Shell. Now let's check the penalty.
It's just a matter, Dick, of who moves first over there on that left-hand side of the Denver offense.
I thought it was an orange shirt.
It looked like Clarence Kay, the tight end, may have gotten out too quick and drawn the defense offside. No question about Elway's ability to throw that ball deep, and Johnson did a great job of suckering the defensive back, sliding in behind him to pick it up.
Bad news for Denver.
Motion, number 88, illegal motion. There's Clarence Kay right at the top of your picture, and you saw him off ahead of the count, and that is a rookie mistake. And this is the kind of game, unfortunately, that kind of thing happens. So much intensity. So much emotion on the field, and with so many young players, we're going to see some of those critical mistakes today.
They declined the penalty to bring up 3rd and 9. That's where the statistics are misleading, too. That might have been just a 5-yard number in a penalty yardage total, but it was a 43-yard loss on the pass play.
Well, that's 48 yards that you lose in one big gulp. Pittsburgh pretty happy about that one.
Again. Elway down the middle. Incomplete and broken up by Woodruff. Watson, the intended receiver. We'll check the penalty, but first, prophecy from Dan Reeves.
Reeves talked about the importance of these games. Number 93. Now that is a crucial play again, a big mistake. Keith Willis. There's Dan Reeves. He was talking about the importance of these games in the playoffs and how critical they are. Here it is. Every game, sudden death. There's no question about it. There is no tomorrow. If you lose this one, somebody else goes to Miami.
Reeves, who yesterday was watching the Seattle game at Miami and commenting on what great respect he has for both coaches, and particularly Chuck Knox, and how well Knox has treated him as a new head coach. Elway again, extricating, and he had men wide open. Clarence Kay didn't have a white jersey within 20 yards of him, but Elway was throwing under pressure. And in fact, the fans wanted a roughing penalty.
John Elway back, and it's Mike Merriweather storming in from the outside, all over the top of him, but Elway got away and then got dumped. Now that's what made the fans here angry.
Why isn't that a penalty?
Well, it probably should have been. It looked late from here, Dick.
So Keith Willis gets away with one. Now the ball is clearly away, and he's already taken 2 steps and gets hit. If that isn't a roughing the penalty, that's a penalty. What is?
I think the reason maybe it wasn't called, the official, looking back, did not see how far Willis came on that play. Had he seen him, I think he would have dropped the flag on him.
3rd down and 4. And they're offside again. This time it was Mark Catano. And Watson has the catch. And he's still on his feet to the 50-yard line and a first down.
absolutely amazing for Watson to be able to catch that football. It went right through the hands of Sam Washington, and his concentration was so good that he didn't lose it.
Offside, number 78, defense.
Well, they'll decline that penalty, take the gain out to the 50 of 10 yards. Catano, a free agent from Valdosta State in Georgia, and he too took the hook, and something that Elway's doing is drawing those Steelers offside.
Well, I think it's the way he's barking his cadence. Looking at it from the other side of the field, you'll have a chance to see the penetration right there. And again, it's a rookie in an emotional situation, well into the second, or well into the line of scrimmage when the ball was sent.
Leading 7-3 gives to Winder. Winder has his longest gain, 8 yards. Stolen away, and I didn't hear a whistle. That might be Pittsburgh's ball.
No, they're saying it was down, Dick. The whistle was blown, and both of these teams working at stripping that football away. A much greater consciousness of that in the NFL, and I think that comes from the ability that Denver and Seattle have shown during this season of taking the football away by stripping it away from the runners and receivers.
Pretty quick whistle, says the Steelers. There's that giveaway takeaway. It's 2-1 in favor of Denver today against Pittsburgh, done with the interception and a couple of fumbles recovered by Denver.
Let's look and see what happened at the end of that play. You see him on the ground, Winder laying on the ground. Robin Cole reached in and snapped that football away. Cole, a powerful man, but obviously Winder was on the ground before the...
That was before they ball. No question. 5 minutes remaining. 7-3. Denver driving to try to add to that lead. It's second down and a long one. It's closer than 2 yards. Winder gets inside the 40, and that should be enough for the first down. Gary Dunn spearheaded the defensive charge, and the Broncos have 4 more downs. Championship game will be the early of the 2 games next Sunday here on NBC. We invite you to join us at high noon in Miami as the winner here, Denver or Pittsburgh, will meet the Dolphins for the right then to go on to the Super Bowl.
Dolphins back in stride. Marino throwing well, and the most important thing, their defense playing as they had played early in the year, shutting down the running game, which is something they were not doing late in the season.
First down, Denver. 4:05 left in the first half. Elway to Butch Johnson, incomplete. Good call by the official who took his time, measured to see if that was a forward pass or a lateral pass, and ruled that it was forward, incomplete.
Now, if I were a coach, I'd have a hold of Butch's neck on that one. He can't guess whether that was a lateral or not. He's got to cover that ball.
There it is again.
Elway throwing so quickly that ball not very far behind. It looks like it's almost dead even with the line of scrimmage.
You saw the official. He gave it a good look and made his call. This telecast presented by Authority, the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the NFL is prohibited. Merriweather chasing Elway, and he gets him. Little finishes the job. Little will probably get credit for the sack, but it was Merriweather. Boy, does he hound the quarterback.
Great speed, great quickness. He's the kind of guy that will make your quarterback. And even with Elway's ability to use his feet, you see the one-on-one matchup right there. Merriweather getting back outside, and Elway just can't get away from him. Jogs him all the way back into the traffic. David Little, number 50, takes him down.
He led the team in tackles, Merriweather with 98, led the team in sacks with 15. Gastineau, the NFL leader, with 22, and
Andre Tippett
at 17 and a half, the best for linebackers.
That's the only other linebacker who bested Merriweather's record on the year.
Clock running out here in the first half, 7-3 Denver, third down and 22. Elway, the whole stadium rising to watch as Elway gets away again. He was beyond the line of scrimmage, and the flags go down.
There it is.
The illegal forward pass. The line of scrimmage was the 49 of Denver. He threw it from the Pittsburgh 49.
I'm sure he got a little assistance. They got a little assistance in making that call from the Pittsburgh coaches, who were looking right through Elway at the yard marker on the far side. Elway again showing you this is a planned rollout, by the way. This is not just a rollout after the fact. Planned to give him more time. Look all the way back across the field, and here he is, just stepping beyond the line of scrimmage. Pittsburgh coaches waving frantically, and they did get the call. Referees having a little trouble with their microphone on the field today. Freddie Wyand unable to communicate as well with us as he would like to.
That's 5 yards and loss of down. 4th down now and nearly 30. Lips drops back to the 15.
Pressure defense. Pressure defense. 10 men up, Dick. Let's see if they're coming after Chris Norman. Look at him jump around. It's like a fire drill down there.
You think there isn't pressure on that punter when he's looking at all that movement?
I think they're coming.
Norman, end over end. Lips will let it go, and it goes way out of bounds. We'll see how they mark it. It'll be around the 20. Not even that good. 22-yard line.
Ken Woodard, number 52, the outstanding special teamer of the last 2 seasons. He'll be nailed on the outside by Harvey Clayton, number 33, who's trying to stay in his way, keep him from getting downfield. And there's his second blocker coming over to help. Scoop Gillespie, but got scooped on that one.
32-yard punt with 3:10 left in the half. It'll be Pittsburgh with a ball at the 22, trailing 7-3. They probably have the shortest linemen, offensive linemen in all of the NFL, and they're also maybe quicker than some of the other linemen. And they use that trap technique and the screen. Old-fashioned football. And Pollard rumbling to the 37-yard line with 3 minutes left in this first half.
Looking at it from the end zone, you'll have a chance to watch this screen develop.
There goes the flag.
Uh-oh, now we got a fight down on the field. Let's watch the action there.
Nothing serious, but a flag is down.
Emotional. I mean, these players, you could sense it as they came out. You couldn't tell which team was most emotional, but there's no question a great deal of intensity.
Personal fouls against Pittsburgh. Not one of those double calls and nullifying penalties, so Pittsburgh nailed, and that'll deny a sizable gain for Chuck Noll's Steelers.
Chuck Noll will not be happy about that, as it will mark his team back. At the end of that play is where the foul occurred. You see Pollard running downfield. Let's watch and see. Yeah, let's keep looking here. Maybe we can figure out what happened.
Foul, number 30. First down.
It's Pollard.
The man who was tackled and being roughed up, he apparently kicked or something down under that pile.
Now, very often, when you're down and you're vulnerable, a defender will crash into you or be pushed into you, and you think he's done it intentionally. Often it's totally unintentional. I had that happen to me a couple of times trying to get away from people that ended up stepping on them or kicking them.
Pittsburgh moving the ball much better on first down in this game, but they trail where it counts 7-3. Ball marked back to the 22-yard line, or first and 10. Exactly where they started this series. So in essence, that last penalty just nullified the game by Pollard on the screen. He picks up yardage to the 29. It'll be 2nd and 3, and the clock running 2:44 left.
A chance to watch one of those traps that we talked about. Let's look at Long right here, who will be coming across in your picture to do the trapping on the other side. Take a peek at it now. He'll be coming from the right side of your picture, driving across number 74. And actually, in that situation, Jackson had come so deep that he didn't even have to make the play. Jackson taking himself out of the play, and they were able to go right straight on.
Now watch the work. You threw it and it didn't work. As soon as you turned away, your favorite animal, that old telestrator, just popped up on you.
Yeah.
Well, we got the idea anyway.
Electronic wizardry.
Like all that computer work trying to get in and out of hotels. Sometimes you can't make it. NFL 84. All the gang, and nice to have Ahmad Rashad with us here in Denver. That his thoughts about the first half of play, and also the key plays, in case you missed them. The Chicago Bears and moved on to the championship game in the NFC against the San Francisco 49ers. Walter Payton, brilliant defense, some little chicanery by Mike Ditka. They pulled out a few trick plays, and they seemed to work against the Redskins, and they've advanced.
And that safety that they called, Ditka took with about 8 minutes to go in the game. If they had lost that game, I think he might have been second-guessed for a long time over that, Dick.
Ditka was one of those who called Dan Reeves this week, and they chatted with each other and wished each other well. Did any other phone calls? He said, well, the president didn't call me, not even the one that lives just a few miles down the street in Plains, Georgia. Native Georgian, Dan Reeves. Complete. And Big Ben Cunningham, they've missed him. He's healthy again. And he's to the 48-yard line. Cunningham, who caught only 4 all year. In fact, one of the amazing statistics in this era of the tight end in pro football is that the total catches by all the tight ends on the Pittsburgh squad for the year is 11. That's just one day for the Winslows of the world. 2-minute warning with Denver leading here at Mile High 7-3. Broncos.
A little humor to go with it.
Well, the Steeler fans would have their banners and gonfalons ready back in the Steel City as well. First down at the 48. Little draw to Pollard. Look at the running room. And Pollard blasts to the 38-yard line. The Steelers have 2 timeouts left. They used one earlier in this half. Clock running 1:47.
Pollard showing you how he amassed in excess of 800 yards. They go right back to the line of scrimmage. Malone trying to get the call on the audible.
Dumps it off to Pollard. Makes a... No, incomplete. Never had control. The man who fell on the ball, number 74, Terry Long, is quite a story. There perhaps is no other player in the NFL quite like him. He is 5'10", if that's all, 272 pounds. When he left high school, he weighed 160. He went into the special services in the armed forces. He had 60 parachute jumps and went to the weight room, went from 160 to 272, and has made this team as a rookie from East Carolina.
And he's played a great deal during this season.
Most of those offensive linemen, 6'4", 6'5", he's in there at 5'10". 2nd and 10. Pollard again. Got a block. 25, 20, and finally Dennis Smith gets him out of bounds at the 15-yard line. And there was some good blocking on that right side of the Pittsburgh line where Long is working with Tunjilkin.
The Broncos had a blitz coming. They're coming. You see Jackson coming up inside, and when you blitz against a draw play, often you just kill the play, but if you miss it, you have a back running, and the next people to see him are the secondary. Dennis Smith, the next guy with a chance to get Pollard out of bounds. Pollard getting a big first down, and the Steelers driving down to the 16-yard line. 1:24 left on the clock.
Plenty of time for Chuck Noll's Pittsburgh team. Crowd trying to make it difficult. Open is Stallworth. And the veteran John Stallworth is out of bounds at the 2. Remember, he has 10 playoff touchdowns, 8 consecutive games with at least one, and he came within 1.75 yards of another.
This is the kind of thing that Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, wanted to have happen. A good mix of passing and running. By establishing the running game, you saw the draw a moment ago to open it up. You forced the defense to honor that, and then you can come back and find some open territory. Look how much room number 82, John Stallworth, had to work in. Did a good job before they drove him out of bounds.
And stop the clock with 1:17. There's some confusion on the sidelines for Pittsburgh. First and goal. Pollard is in the end zone, and the Steelers lead for the first time.
A very late touchdown call. The officials looking back and forth, and finally one of them threw his arms in the air. It looked like second effort from Frank Pollard as he was stopped momentarily just short of the goal line and then twisted his body and using great strength. He has huge thighs, good strength, forcing himself into the end zone. We'll look at it after the extra point.
Full quit to hold for Gary Anderson, who narrowly made a 28-yard field goal and then missed wide right from 41 yards. Down the middle of the rights this time.
Here's that touchdown play. Pollard, as you will see, will be stopped. Watch the surge now. He'll be coming in. He gets 2 extra blockers. Beals over there, Anthony Corley over there, and they've got him stopped right there until he finally just twists his body and squares away and forces himself and the ball into the end zone.
And this the result on the sideline. Chuck Noll rarely showing any emotion. He leaves that to the players and the assistant coaches. That's about as big a standing ovation as you'll get from the headmaster of the Steelers. Pollard has given Pittsburgh a 10-7 lead. Look at that kick by Anderson. Says, no way, I'll take it at the 20. I made a comment earlier that Anderson, in practice, tries field goals from 64 and makes them rather consistently. If he ever gets a chance and they need a long one in this atmosphere, mile high, we might see him break Tom Dempsey's long-standing NFL record.
There's no question he has the leg to do it. He has the confidence to do it. A day like today, the air is not as warm. If it were warmer, say about 85 degrees, that would help him. The ball tends to get a little bit tighter in this kind of situation. Does not reflex as well, doesn't travel as far, but you can kick a good long one up here today anyway.
Now remember, the Broncos have only 1 timeout. Elway had to spend 2 earlier. 1:14 left in the half. They trail for the first time. Winder caught from behind. Brian Hinkle. We talk about the speed of Merriweather, but Hinkle can run as well. He has 4.6 speed.
Looking at it from the opposite side of the field, you have an opportunity to see this offside pursuit. This is just great pursuit from the backside of the field. 53, he'll chase Winder all the way across the field, and Winder simply did not feel him there. He was looking at the blocking up front, and Hinkle able to use his 4.6 speed to run the running back down.
Fans are booing because Denver has made no attempt to stop the clock. It's down to 33 seconds.
They'll go deep here.
Wide open is Watson. Is he inbound?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, what a toe dance by Steve Watson. He has to have the best toenails in the league.
Stretched all the way out. A chance to see his ballerina-like catch here. Look at those toes. Absolutely flexed to the maximum.
Like a fallen sequoia.
Oh, beautifully done. And they're out just inside the 35-yard line. 26 seconds left in the half, and Elway can get this ball down the field a little bit further. They may be in position to let Carlos have a try at the long one.
That's 6 catches for Watson. As you look at Carlos, number 1. Watson with 6 catches, 109 yards. Leading receiver in this first half. They picked up the blitz. Open down the middle is Watson again, and he's at the 44.
Only 1 timeout left, and they'll call it right here. Denver takes their final timeout. You remember they had to call 2 because
they can't afford to be tackled inbounds. No timeouts left. A fake to Winder, a throw to Wilhite. He gets out of bounds. Stops the clock with 12 seconds. They're at the 40, so this would be a 57-yard field goal try if they were to try now, but they've got enough time for at least 1 more pass play. Elway to the sidelines. Watson not inbounds. He was out of bounds. Could not get both feet in that time. And that would have given Carlos a fairly good chance at one. It was around the...
They may throw it up and try and get a penalty here.
Wilhite.
He got the ball.
It's a catch, no catch.
No catch.
He won't get much help from Dan Reeves. So Carlos is going to have to come in for a desperation long try, or will they go for one final bomb in 2 seconds?
Well, it looks like Carlos will stay on the sideline, and they will try again, hoping for the penalty. Elway throwing powerfully to the sideline, and you saw the ball on one hop. The official right there.
Here comes Carlos, the player of the year in the balloting by fans here in Denver, and one of the 5 finalists for the NFL Man of the Year.
These fans make this whole stadium rock. You'll see our cameras occasionally rocking as these fans stomp and show their excitement here. And they are about as wild as any in the NFL, if not the wildest.
57 yards away from a tie. Nope. That one spiraled its way downfield, and that is how the first half comes to a close. Underdog Pittsburgh, perhaps following a script written earlier by the Chicago Bears, takes the lead at the intermission 10-7.
Dick, talking to Denver players and listening to all the press and the media, they were very confident that they would be in Miami next week. They can't afford to ignore this Pittsburgh team. They found that out the hard way here in the first half.
We've played 30 minutes. The score, Steelers 10, Broncos 7. Now stay tuned for NFL. Second half about to start. Harless in Denver kicking off. Lips is deep for Pittsburgh. The Steelers leading 10-7. He'll gamble at the 15 and hit hard at the 19-yard line. Hundley the charge downfield. Number 1 pick of the Cincinnati Bengals and acquired midseason by trade with these Denver Broncos. Halftime statistics.
Stats favoring the Pittsburgh Steelers, as does the score, 10-7. Steelers have done a better job of rushing the football, better job of passing the football. You see Malone's numbers, 11 for 15, Elway 12 for 21, 2 turnovers on the Pittsburgh side. That has hurt them.
And Gary Dunn stopped a drive deep in Pittsburgh territory when the defensive tackle intercepted an Elway pass for the Steelers. Having trouble hearing the count. Abercrombie for a couple. Let's reset the offense for you. Malone, the quarterback, Pollard and Abercrombie are the running backs, a very young line. In fact, the Steelers started 4 rookies on offense today. That's a remarkable number for a playoff team. A line, makeshift line with the injuries of Wolfley, Long, Ilkin, Webster, and Wingle. Tight end, Cunningham seeing some duty along with Darrell Nelson, a rookie. And the wide receivers, Lips and Stallworth. They really came into play in that drive to the touchdown late in the first half that took the lead for Pittsburgh. Incomplete, and Malone had to dump that one off. Third and 8. Defensively for the Broncos, they line up in the 3-4, Chavis, Carter, and Jones. They'll change things now in a pass situation. Ryan Dennison, Busick, and Jackson are the linebackers. Louis Wright, Mike Harden at the corners. Dennis Smith and Steve Foley at safety. You see 48 Randy Robbins has joined them at a safety spot. Keith Rostowski in there at a guard position for Pittsburgh. Wide open is Lips, but he can't hang on to the ball. That would have been a first down at the 32. Pass was a little low, but one that Lips should have gathered in.
Very first series, the Denver defense comes out roaring. Pittsburgh unable to control the football, turns it over. Let's see if maybe Denver won't gamble here. They're going to get good field position anyway. They might just go for the return here. They have 10 men up.
Gerald Wilhite back at the 32.
Colquitt has never been blocked in a regular season game. One partially blocked last year against the Raiders in the playoffs.
He didn't punt in the entire first half, so this is his first attempt today. 10 men on the line of scrimmage.
They're coming.
And they block it. It'll go out of bounds. Denver's ball at the 4-yard line. Roger Jackson, 28. Unofficially, he got there first.
It looked like they loaded up on the left side, but the block came from the right side as Jackson flew in and got his hand on that football and batted away. A close look from the other side at Colquitt, and there's the bat right there. Mike Merriweather, 57, trying to protect him, but Jackson flying over the top. The ball out of bounds just inside the 4-yard line, and Denver is celebrating.
A devastating play for the Steelers and a tremendous lifting opportunity for Denver. First and goal just inside the 4-yard line. Winder, stop hold, no gain. Credit Roger Jackson with a block of Colquitt, who in 6 years never had one blocked. He had one partially blocked last year in the playoffs by the Raiders, but that one as clean a block as you'll ever see. That one caromed way out of bounds at the 4.
Colquitt is a two-step punter and usually gets the ball away very quickly. A little bit slow that time, but I think a very hyped-up Denver defense had gotten that special teams group pumped up, and Jackson flew in from the outside, got his hands on that football.
Their coach, Fran Polsfoot, who is battling with cancer. How proud he is of that particular play. 2nd and goal. Wilhite looks like he wants to throw. He's going to run it, and he's dropped at the line of scrimmage. That was a tackle-eligible pass. Dave Studdard, number 70, a left tackle. He had to announce he was an eligible receiver. He was the man in the end zone that Wilhite was looking for.
They were going to throw that all the way back across, but a very alert Steeler defense was not fooled at all on the play. That's another one of those tricks that Dan Reeves worked on all week.
Studdard from University of Texas. He caught a touchdown earlier. Now it's 3rd and goal, and the Steelers could turn the emotion around if they should stop the Broncos from this golden opportunity. 10-7. Pittsburgh leads early in the 3rd quarter.
2 running plays have gotten them nowhere. Let's see what Elway does here. He's out of the shotgun. Some confusion back there with Winder.
Elway under pressure, has to throw it away. And the Steelers have held. Wayne Woodruff on the coverage of Butch Johnson, and Elway under tremendous pressure from Keith Willis.
Big Keith Willis. Look, there was some trying to talk to people. No confusion what Keith Willis was going to do. He set his sights on Elway, and Watson working one-on-one on Wayne Woodruff, number 49. Not Watson, but Butch Johnson, number 86, working one-on-one on Woodruff. Not able to break free in time.
Now, this isn't much more than an extra point try by Carlos, but an emotional victory for the Steelers defense to stop Denver after that block punt.
Carlos is 1 for 2. He kicked that first one to the right. Let's see what he does with this one.
21 yards away. And he's got it. It's tied at 10. Well, the two defenses, we said early, Merlin, you underline that fact, the strength of the two teams, the reason they are here, the defenses. Well, the defense blocks the punt, and then the Pittsburgh defense holds Denver to just a field goal, and it's even at 10.
For rent-a-car company.
And Hertz affordable weekly rates save me money.
But people say Hertz is more reliable.
Right into the arms of Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg from Minnesota.
The size of a defensive lineman, the speed of a linebacker. In fact, he'll even run with a defensive back. Look how quickly he's downfield. Eludes the block right there by Todd Seabaugh, number 59, and then just grinds up little Louis Lips. And this Denver team is coming on with an emotional surge here in the second half.
Well, at Mecklenburg at 6'3" and 250, they might want to make a fullback out of him. He has 2 interceptions this year, one for 63 yards and one for 42. Flag down as Pollard is wrapped up.
It looked like the flag was thrown and the whistle blown before the play. Everyone kind of stopping.
Gives us a chance to talk about Pollard, who had an exceptional first half and maybe the key to the Pittsburgh lead at the intermission.
Now, we had our eyes early on Abercrombie, but it's been Pollard who has carried the load so far for the Pittsburgh running attack.
Ball marked at the 9-yard line, a 5-yard penalty for illegal procedure.
You should see that picture shaking. That's the whole stadium rocking with these Denver fans. They're encouraging their defense here.
To be impossible for Malone to be heard. Pollard breaking tackles and gets to the 15-yard line. Pickup of about 6, which will put him over the 80-yard mark for the afternoon. We pause briefly for station identification. From Denver, this is the NBC Television Network.
This is KYW-TV3 in Philadelphia.
With Merlin Olsen. It's tied at 10. The winner goes to Miami for the AFC Championship next Sunday. 2nd and 9. Pollard and Abercrombie behind Malone. Jim Ryan, number 50, stopped Malone for no gain. Now, Malone at one time had the great speed and moves of an Elway, but he's had a couple of surgeries on the knees, and he just doesn't move the same.
Dick, he can still run quickly straight ahead. That's not his problem. His problem is in the quick lateral moves. He just cannot slide laterally, and you saw him there accelerating, but when he had to go sideways, he just could not do it. Third. This is where the home field advantage pays off for Denver.
Stadium rocking. Malone batted in the air, almost intercepted. And that defense is getting a standing ovation. Yeah, they don't get no respect around the country, they say, but boy, they get a standing ovation here at Mile High. Holtz has to be a bit jittery as he anticipates this punt. He had to swallow the last one. Will Height back at the 39 of Denver. They just beat the 30-second clock. Beautiful kick.
That's a line drive, though, Dick. They'll get a return off of it.
Will Height to the 50 to the 47 of the Steelers. And again, a little extra push and shove. Chris Brown, rookie from Notre Dame, made the tackle. There's Joe Collier. He's looking at some of those instant photos of the various alignments.
Collier, the man who calls the plays defensively for the Bronco defense. He's the man who sent in those aggressive blitzes. You see Dennis Smith coming in, Mecklenburg coming in, an all-out blitz, and it paid off.
10-16 remaining in the third quarter of a tie game in Denver.
Here one, you can have a hard time with it. He may not show the mobility that's made him so dangerous here in the first half. We'll have to keep an eye on it, Dick.
He starts from the Pittsburgh 47. Oops. Movement by Wright. Complete to Winder, but it appeared there was a legal motion against Denver. Jim Wright, the tight end.
I don't see a flag.
Oh, how could...
I don't see a flag, Dick.
Well, it was obvious.
Well, now, the tight end can move.
Not forward.
Well, he can move forward if he stops, if there's a 1-second pause, but I don't believe he was stopped for a second, and it looked to me like he was had his head over the ball. Chuck Noll, I'm sure, absolutely frustrated on the sideline. He was looking right down the line at that play.
Well, maybe we'll have a shot of it, but they're already out of the huddle. Second down and 2. That's a break for the Broncos. Draw play to Winder. He's got a first down at the 33-yard line. Eric Williams made the tackle. Assist to Cole.
Elway limping on that injury, but it certainly hasn't affected the strength of his arm. It may hold them, keep them from calling some of those rollouts that they've tried to use to get him away from the rush of the Pittsburgh defense. On that last play, you see him as he's definitely treating that leg rather tenderly.
First down at Pittsburgh 33, 8:50 left third quarter. A tie game at 10. Looking for Watson. There he is. Out of bounds at the 25-yard line. A gain of 8.
And it appears that every time Elway throws that ball and stretches that groin, he injures it a little bit more. He came away from that last throw really nursing that pulled groin, but again, showing you the great strength of his arm as he gunned the ball to the outside. Now look at him as he comes down here. Look at the way he comes away from that ball. I think maybe he's going to have trouble going through the rest of this game effectively.
Second and 2. Winder, big hole, and a first down at the Pittsburgh 20 before Cole can wrestle him down.
Now what gauntlet has been thrown down by the Bronco defense. They've come out and dominated so far in the second half. Tony Dungy, the man who calls the defenses for the Pittsburgh side of the line, has got to get his troops rallied here. He's up in the booth. We got a shot of him earlier in the day. Now he'll be sending those defenses down through one of his coaches on the sideline and out to David Little, who's his leader on the field.
29 years of age, some say will be the first black head coach in the NFL. Gunning the ball incomplete to Butch Johnson, who made a gallant try, and it was Johnson, you'll recall, as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, who made a diving catch in the end zone that helped to eliminate Denver, the Broncos, back in that big year of '77.
Elway so strong that at times the ball is zipping and it's just hard to handle. That one low and away, and like a catcher jumping out of the crouch. Kind of hard for Johnson to get his hands on it.
Steeler defense trying to stop Denver again.
And I wonder if that pulled groin may bother his throwing motion. We'll have to keep an eye on him. It may stop him from that good follow-through.
Were the Steelers offside? Yes, a flag is down. Elway gunning. Touchdown! Steve Watson. 9th catch today for Watson.
We've got a flag down on the field, though.
It's against the Steelers. They were leaning offside. Steve Watson capping another remarkable year. 9 catches for Watson. And he's working on a career best, 158 yards today. And that was a bullet thrown by Elway. Try for point by Carlos to make it 17-10. Just good.
We'll go back and pick up that touchdown throw by John Elway, looking right into his face. He starts up and guns the ball right into the camera and right into the arms of Steve Watson.
Boy, let's watch the throwing action of Elway. You saw he had to be right on the money. Donnie Shell was on his target. And although he limps a little on the follow-through, he says, that's right down the middle, Steve right.
And the solo by Watson. They've got them all for us downstairs today as Watson makes his little break inside. It's Donnie Shell trying to cover, but that ball just zipped in there. No chance to knock it away.
Mile High Stadium. Lips at the 1. Louis Lips looking for a crack. And fights to the 34. 33 yards on the return.
Go back and take one more peek at that. Well, we're going to take a peek at the man who made that play. Steve Watson getting a well-deserved rest on the sideline.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot in temperament of Steve Largent, the great receiver with the Seahawks. He's very mild-mannered, low-keyed sort of guy. Expresses himself in a different manner on the field. Crowd trying to make it impossible for Malone to be heard. All day to throw, and there's Lips. First down at the Denver 43. Louis Lips, what a pick he was out of southern Mississippi. 23 yards on that play.
There's Lips breaking down. He's got plenty of time to work on Louis Wright. Wright knows he's got help down deep. Lips finally hooking up inside of that help. That's the safety back there behind him, but gave him plenty of room on the play. We'll see it from behind. Malone looks left and then finds Lips right there. Dennis Smith finally making the play.
Malone's protection, the key to that play. Frank Pollard trying to get outside. And he's ridden down at the 40. Steve Busick making the play, the backer from Southern California.
Busick came up with that football after the play. You see the Pollard Pollard now has 9 carries for 71 yards, but he does not go anywhere. Watch Busick strip the ball right here. Look at him go after that football. Now, he'll come away from that sack with the football. The official said that he was down, but that's the way Denver has taken the ball away all year long.
And
Looks like Pollard hurt his shoulder, Dick.
Abercrombie gets the call, and he dances close to a first down, and I believe he has a first down inside the 33-yard line. Dennis Smith at safety making the play. Smith, one of those rare athletes at safety that has the talent to cover man for man, and that is a tremendous bonus in the deep defense of the Broncos as you look at Pollard.
Well, the control of this game established on the line of scrimmage, and right now the Steeler offensive line trying to get it back. Rostowski has done a good job on there. Wolfley, Webster, Long, and Ilkin all trying to get this thing moving. They want to get the ball back into the end zone, get this game back to a tie.
3rd and inches? No. First down, Pittsburgh. This is what they're working for today. $10,000. The winner today automatically will go up to the $28,000 level, and then the winner next week in Miami shooting for the Super Bowl prize, 46 or 64. It really is the $64,000 question. The experts saying Miami and San Francisco, but there's some other teams that are going to try to beat the odds. Wide open is Lips, and he has another first down near the 15. Louis Wright body slams him, but Lips holding onto the football and a 17-yard advance.
A nice throw by Malone. Again, time to throw the football, and they've established that running game. They're giving themselves room right here, but look how deep Louis Wright plays Lips, respecting his speed. Lips cutting it up short. Louis slipping a little bit. I don't think he could have been back in time anyway, but that's the Denver philosophy. Keep everything in front of you.
4:30 left in the quarter. Pittsburgh driving toward what would be a tying touchdown. It's 17-10 Denver. Abercrombie. Or you could see the instinct of Abercrombie setting up the block, that instantaneous little fake and move as he feels the defense. It didn't look as if there was much there, but he gained nearly 5.
Well, he just sacrificed his body on that one, threw himself in there. With Pollard out of there, they lose some of the punch. Pollard is an excellent blocker.
He's back in now, Merlin.
All right, Pollard back on the field. Well, you got a day like today, you don't stay out of there with a little shoulder, Nick. You go right back in there and hammer.
Well, they've been alternating to Lips. He started it with a 23-yard gain, then Pollard ran, then Abercrombie, then Lips, then Abercrombie. And now, will it be Lips' turn? Or will they stay on the ground? Both Stallworth and Lips to the left. He threw that one away. No, it's a touchdown to Lips. No, he didn't catch the ball. Did not catch the ball. Well, it was to Lips after all, that ad-libbing, and he had his hands on it, but Louis Wright did a good job of slamming in there to knock it away.
The two defensive ends, Rulon Jones and Barney Shava, 75 and 79, finally breaking through that offensive line to get pressure on Mark Malone. Malone back, has plenty of time, but finally he gets two defensive ends through on him. Now watch him here, just throws that ball deep, sees Lips breaking across deep. Lips goes up, gets his hand on the ball, but simply could not control it, and I think that's the ball that ordinarily he may have caught.
A terrific throw for Malone under pressure. Now Lips will normally catch that one. It's 3rd and 5 from the 10. Quickie to Lips, and he is going to get the touchdown anyway, or is he? He's right. Yes, touchdown.
And you got a reaction from Chuck Noll on the sideline on that one. The thing that is rather amazing about Louis Lips is that he has such great strength for a small receiver, and he is not afraid to stick his nose in there. Good body control, good strength. He doesn't look to be that strong, but you saw him there fighting out of the blocks, fighting out of the tackles, and getting himself in position to surge across that goal line.
Here's the try for point by Anderson that would tie it at 17. Colquitt to hold. We're even again with 3:19 left. Well, Lips said to me, he said, hey, I'm not small. I'm just short. 5'10", but I'm 190, and I may be a little deceptive.
Here's that last play. Just a quick slant pattern. But watch what Lips does with the football. Breaking one tackle, breaking a second tackle away from Foley, and fighting two defenders to finally stick that ball out over the end zone. All he has to do is break the plane. Now you'll see it again from a different angle. There's the second miss by Foley, and now fighting, and leaning out. See him sticking that ball out? That's what broke it. That's what got the touchdown for them.
He doesn't give Stravinsky that big a hand. 3:19 remaining in the quarter. It's even at 17. Height not going to take a chance. They'll start at the 20 with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left in the third period.
When you pull a muscle in a game, like a groin muscle, and we're talking about John Elway, very often the thing that hurts you most is having to come off the field and sit. We'll keep an eye on Elway to see how it looks like he's moving pretty well. But we will watch him anyway. Let's see what the Steeler defense is going to do, Dick. They're back even now. They know that they've got to put some pressure on Elway. They've got to start making things happen defensively.
Now you look at Dunn. He still has that Joe Green, that cross stance.
Yeah, that's that old offset.
Elway comes out throwing to Watson, and he's got another one for a painful 5. And that gives him a career-tying high of 10. Well, that breaks his mark. 10 receptions for Watson, 10 for 163 yards. That's the most he's ever caught in an NFL game. He saved his best for a most important afternoon.
Elway comes right out throwing the ball, but you saw the hitting by the Steelers on that play. That scoring drive, 7 plays, a long drive, 66 yards. Denver does not usually allow people to carry it down the field and stick it in the end zone that way.
6 yards for Watson on the catch. Ooh, tight end right has a first down at the 32.
You see the throwing action of Elway. He throws that ball so hard. In fact, I was talking to Dan Reeves about Elway's difficulties in that blizzard against Green Bay earlier in the year when Elway was almost totally inefficient, and he said the reason he could not hang on to the ball. He throws so hard. You see that powerful throwing motion. I've never seen a quarterback with as much arm strength or using as much arm strength than throwing the ball.
There's a Yankee signee, a baseball player using the arm and the bat, a good hitter, but he's elected now to concentrate on the NFL duties. First down, Winder. One thing that Steeler defense has denied that a lot of teams couldn't stop is that cutback by Winder. They seem to be waiting for him.
If you talk to people who have watched this Steeler defense, in fact, Reeves said it himself. He said they are the most active defense we've played, and great strength at linebacker, great speed at linebacker. It's a characteristic of both of these defensive teams. They really flow and swarm to the football.
We have a good statistic to show you on that. The 1,000-yard rushers this year and how they've fared against that Pittsburgh defense. Winder is the 6th. Ooh, was he clobbered, and the ball is dead. That is not a fumble. As Keith Gary, number 92, drilled Elway. It's a sack of 9 yards.
And I've got to believe that Elway's injury may be hurting him. Ordinarily, you probably would have seen Elway reversing out of there. He's not afraid to whip out of there. Let's watch him here. He feels the pressure, and you kind of saw him being tentative right there. I think ordinarily he would have whipped out of there and run the opposite way, but that injury is hurting his mobility at this moment.
The other thing is it may be a tip for the Pittsburgh defense. They're going to figure, hey, we're going to know where to find him now. We're going to look for him in that pocket instead of his rolls or any scrambles.
That takes away some of the secret and some of the mystique of this Bronco offense if Elway is back in that pocket and can't get out.
Third down and 19. Open is Alexander, but not for long as he's ripped to the turf by number 41, or was that Donnie Shell 31?
No, that's 41. It was Sam Washington who did it. Washington following all the way in from the outside, but look at Elway. He's suffering with that groin, hoping he could get the ball into the hands of a receiver who could sprint, make something out of that play, but Washington following him all the way in, and you'll see it here. Washington coming in from the outside. Alexander has the ball there, but again, defensively, they know how far he has to go for that first down. Shell, number 31, also there to assist on that tackle.
Looking at the clock, they don't have to punt it. They can let the clock run out here in the third quarter, and apparently Chris Norman would rather kick in the other direction. 1 second, and that's it. The end of the third quarter. 10 points for the Broncos, but the Steelers have come back with a touchdown of their own in the third quarter, and after 3, it's tied at 17. And they're playing 15 minutes or sudden death to decide who goes to Miami. Chris Norman will open the fourth quarter with a punt to Lewis Lips. Dangerous return man going to the cone ball for his returns.
Very high, deliberate kick.
Lips fumbles and a scramble. Denver says they have it.
It looked like he'd lost the ball at the bottom of the stack, but he was reaching and grabbing, and now they say he has it.
Oh, Lips on a scramble to recover his mistake in that pile of humanity. It's interesting that kicker, as he's watching the flight of the ball and knowing those men are coming down on attack.
Here he is. He looked up at the football. You saw the quick look down, and he was looking away as that ball arrived, looking at the rush. Here's another shot of it. You see him drop his eyes to look for the rush just a little before it arrived, and that was what killed him. But he fought for that ball under the stack and got it.
That took an athlete to scramble back and get it. There was nothing but orange around him. Time out. It's tied at 17. But he had the presence to fall on his mistake at the 15. Tied at 17. Almost the entire quarter remaining. Fourth period in Denver. Malone, wide open Abercrombie. And the Steeler receivers seem to be open consistently, as much as we've seen any offense against this Bronco defense this year.
Well, they're getting great protection, and that really has been the key. The Broncos very aggressive up front. They're throwing a lot of people, and that means man-on-man coverage. The result is that when Malone has had time to throw the football, you see Collier trying to get his defensive troops fired up. When Malone has had time, he has been able to find his receivers.
6 yards on the play. Richie Thompson at 6'6" in motion. And Abercrombie blasting out across the 30 to the 31, and a Pittsburgh first down.
Again, the trap play. We mentioned how Pittsburgh's offensive line would be trapping the Denver defenders. Look back into that offensive line, you'll see an official upended on this particular play. Look how big a hole they're able to open up. And again, whoa, look out. Running over everybody in there, Abercrombie.
Now that umpire who has to stand in there like an umpire, Art Demis is 78. I don't know if that was Demis that we saw there, but he's the umpire who has to fight off those blockers. Malone again, plenty of time to find Pollard. And Frank Pollard is to the 40 and near another first down before Jim Ryan and Dennis Smith can collaborate.
And it's apparent that the Dick Hoke, who coaches these backs, has told them, when you get in traffic, you cover up that football. Pollard locking that ball up with 2 hands as that Denver defense swarmed out there, was able to control it. That's a fine gain, second and short. In this particular situation, the offense can do anything they want to do. It's literally almost a throwaway down for them. Often this is an opportunity to try a deep shot downfield.
Now they're going to go to Pollard. And he stopped right at the 40. Busick and Wright. And Louis Wright coming up that, forced that play from the corner.
The Broncos have been putting their halfbacks up close to the line in a wing position, and they're using those halfbacks to kind of bump the defensive ends. In that particular situation, he was blocking, but Louis Wright flying in from the outside, showing you his athletic ability, shut off all of the alleys to the outside, and there was no room inside for Frank Pollard.
Louis Wright said, I have the typical cornerback personality, introverted and sometimes temperamental.
3 running backs in the game right now for Pittsburgh.
3rd and 1. Pollard has the first down and more, and Louis Wright saved a touchdown. That had been a John Riggin special, because Wright was the last man between Pollard and a long rump.
Number 38, Elton Beals, one of those rookies that we've been talking about, in at a wing position. He'll start in motion and head down and become a blocker as he starts up into the line, burying his shoulder right in Tom Jackson's ribs, making some room inside for Pollard. That's the kind of trapping, and boy, they come from everywhere.
And again, the rushing offense going to Pollard and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was the key to the game, both coaches said. It's tied now at 17, but the Steelers seem to be moving the ball more easily, much more. Oh, almost a steal by Steve Foley, intended for tight end Ben Cunningham. Foley, who has 6 interceptions to tie teammate Mike Harden for the club lead this year. He was a quarterback at Tulane. In fact, wanted to play that position so much he didn't sign with the NFL. Originally, he went to Jacksonville of the old World Football League as he wanted a quarterback, realized maybe the scouts and the coaches were right, that he would be better off somewhere else, and now a star at safety, and in fact has 39 career interceptions. 2nd and 10. Big hole, and he is to the Denver 46-yard line. A gain of at least 6 more, and maybe a 7-yard gain. 3rd down, and between 3 and 4 yards. Earlier in the game, Rich Ehrenberg on a kickoff return to start the game was hit in a high tackle, broke his nose, and he's still suffering a headache from that blow, and obviously we were wrong. He will not play today.
Steelers continue to go right up the middle. Walt Boyer in there for Reuben Carter. They'll stack it up inside.
9 Broncos on the line of scrimmage, and one of them stops Pollard. The Steelers will have to punt. Barney Chavis, 79, the veteran from South Carolina State, met him in the hole.
With all the youth and all of the enthusiastic youngsters on this team, appropriate that one of the 12-year veterans, one of the real pros on Joe Collier's defense, would be there to make that big play.
So just as the Steelers seem to be moving the ball with ease, Foley makes a fine play on defense, then Chavis follows up with a stop, and on 4th down and 4, Colquitt to punt. Wilhite is at the 10. Too much time, the 30 seconds, and that won't bother Colquitt. He'll just be able to hit it a little harder.
Amazing how that block has affected the Steeler punting team, though. They looked as the same setup was laid up out there by the Bronco rushing team, and you saw some very worried bodies as they were getting ready to try and block.
Merlin, often a forgotten, we were talking about this yesterday, a forgotten man in football is the up back in that punt formation. He's the one that has to call the defensive alignment, and that pressure rests on, is that Ron Johnson? Can't quite read his number. No, it's not Johnson. 26, Scoop Gillespie, the rookie from William Jewell, is the man who's the up back, has to call out the defenses. Here they come. Wilhite, well, that was a half catch, and he covers at the 14-yard line. He started to raise his hand, then he dropped it. That would have been an interesting call for the official. It was not a clear over the head for a fair catch. It's academic. He falls on the fumble at the 14, a 37-yard punt by Colquitt.
Wilhite a little bit disgusted with himself. Would have had a chance to get a few yards back had he been able to control that football.
It's a 10-minute season, tied at 17.
Surprised me at all to see that happen.
John Elway starts from his own 14. A little draw to Rick Harrison. Oh, defense waiting for that one. Gary Dunn, 6'3" and 265. He's now the veteran in that defensive line, 8 years, and goes back to the Super Bowl champion Steelers.
The thought right now for the Pittsburgh defense is to shut Denver down. Keep them down here. If they can force a punt here, or ideally take the ball away, they've got an excellent opportunity to put it in the end zone. And Dick, again, even though these two kickers have each missed a field goal today, two excellent kickers on the field, it may come down to that, and we'll play this one until someone wins.
2nd and 10. Elway guns it to Watson on one hop, incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10. Now there's a pass that Elway normally would hit easily, but under some pressure, and with that groin injury, it may have affected the trajectory.
The further we go in this game, the more difficulty Elway will have. That pulled groin will tighten up every time he comes off the field, and you see him, he took a shot on his leg on that play, and again, because of his lack of mobility, he becomes more of a sitting target. Look at Merriweather, 57, coming off the outside, throwing himself through there, and it was his body that buried in the back of Elway's leg right there. That's the opposite leg from the one Elway has wrapped.
3rd and 10, shotgun from the 14. There's that shovel pass to Wilhite, breaks one tackle and fights to the 22, but he'll be short by a couple. John Goodman saved a first down, and Elway limps off.
They're trying to beat that defensive end. You see John Kubiak on the side, Gary Kubiak on the sideline, and Kubiak has gone in several times during the year and played extremely well. So if Elway continues to have problems and that pulled groin gets worse, we could conceivably see Kubiak in this ball game.
He was the one who led the Broncos to what was a very big early win against the Raiders in Los Angeles when Elway was hurt. Chris Norman to punt. Lewis Lips back at his 36. Very high. Lips takes a look at the defense. No fair catch. And he's caught from behind at the 37 by Ricky Hundley. Boy, that big linebacker showing you picked to be able to chase down Lips from behind. He's 6'2" and 238 from Arizona.
Well, Lips, we showed you the drama a moment ago as he was looking. Here he is again. The punt, you see the punter, he looks back, looks at the coverage, back up at the football, back at the coverage. Boy, that is dangerous business, but this one he fields cleanly and gets away for short yardage before he's finally run down by number 98, Ricky Hundley.
Abercrombie finally knocked out of bounds at the 46 of Denver, and Abercrombie ripping off another big gain, and Elway with that facial expression acting as though he may not be able to continue. It's not the groin pull now, it's the left knee. You saw him buckle under on that play where Merriweather rolled on his back of his ankle.
Again, credit that to the lack of mobility. Ordinarily, with those quick feet, Elway would have been out of that pocket, would have been sliding and stepping, but he just can't move, and it's cost him in the second half.
First down, Steelers on an 18-yard run by Abercrombie. This time it's Pollard through a big hole, and he has another Pittsburgh first down at the 33. It has been rare this year that a team or a runner has been able to move effectively against that Bronco defense, but Pittsburgh has done it today.
They've given up an awful lot of yardage against the pass. In fact, 27th in the league yardage against the pass, but the trapping of the Pittsburgh offensive line, and that was Ross Toski, 63, with a trap block there to spring Pollard through the line, has just been devastating today.
99 yards now for Pollard on the ground. This is Abercrombie, and he rips off another gain of about 9 yards and moving at will against that Denver defense.
Abercrombie still on the ground. Slow to get up. Now he's bouncing up and heading back.
Merlin Abercrombie now has caught 4 passes, and he has run 14 more times. That's 18 carries. That means 179 times this year he's handled the ball without a fumble. All year long, Abercrombie has not coughed up the ball.
Paying big dividends after a long wait on that first-round draft pick by the Steelers.
First down well within field goal range. It's tied at 17, and Abercrombie did not get off the ball well that time.
I think he knew how much he needed for that first down. I think he's picked it up. Gary Anderson strips off his warm-up, and he's starting to visualize himself kicking that ball through the goalpost, through the upright. You see him right there. He'll be thinking his way through that kick.
And he's thinking his number 1. He'd rather have it a 1 than a 3, and there's the 3-man, Carlos. Field goal have decided 8 of Denver's 16 games. Half of their games were 3-point games, Denver winning 6, losing 2.
And how many times have we seen Denver's defense come up with a big play as you get down deep in their end of the field?
First down at the 23. Abercrombie. He's caught for a loss by Dennis Smith. He has played an outstanding game. Smith, the strong safety, 6'3", 200 pounds. He was a 7-foot high jumper in college, but he's aggressive as well.
You talked to the coaches on the Pittsburgh side of the line, and one of the people they singled out very quickly was Dennis Smith, for his great athletic ability and his hitting ability. He really comes up there and stalks people.
Less than 6 minutes remaining. 17 all. Second down and 13. Malone over the middle. Weegie Thompson to the 11, and that'll be a first down for Pittsburgh as Thompson, the rookie from Florida State, has his first catch.
Thompson has been a decoy much of the day. Here he's working one-on-one on Louis Wright. Goes inside. Wright knew he had help inside, but suddenly there was no one there. Weegie Thompson, fighting for that extra yardage, did not have the first down until he turned upfield. 6'6". He stretched his frame on that one.
You could see he made those 17 catches during the season count, and better than 17-yard average. Abercrombie for 3, maybe 4. They certainly have tested the heart of that Denver defense, and that must mean that Mike Webster, that all-pro center of the Steelers, is doing his job. You pointed that out as a key matchup at the start today, Merlin.
Webster working now on Reuben Carter. He was on Boyer earlier. Stan Jones, the defensive line coach for the Broncos, rolls his people in and out, tries to keep them fresh in there, but that has not kept them from being violated by the Pittsburgh offensive line as they've gone right up the middle repeatedly today.
Clock continues to run. 4:19 left. Malone. Tom Jackson gets him at the 9-yard line. The talking tackler. He bills himself Tom Jackson. I don't know if that was a planned play or not, or whether it was a mix-up, as Malone looked like somewhat of a bootleg.
Maybe we can. It's a planned play. Yes, and Jackson bought no part of it. I believe he was coming on the blitz on that play. And, of course, coming as he was already committed. He was not even looking at that fake handoff.
Dan Reeves applauding Jackson's defense. It's now 3rd and call it 8 for a first down, 9 for a touchdown.
Let's see if they go back to Louis Lips on this play.
Lips to the right out of your picture. Over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Calvin Sweeney, and it was deflected, I believe, by either Robbins or Steve Wilson.
I think Randy Robbins, number 48, and we saw him make a leaping bat-away earlier in the game. He's come up with another big play here to deny the touchdown, but they do have a short shot at a field goal with the score knotted at 17, an opportunity for Pittsburgh to go ahead.
Pressure on Gary Anderson. It's a 26-yard attempt. No good. He missed to the left. Oh, my. Unbelievably, the kicker with a bell heading wide left.
He missed the first one earlier to the right, and this one hooking off to the left. Well, you saw Anderson's reaction. What about Dan Reeves' reaction?
He had to consider those 3 points in the bank, but he gets a reprieve, and with 3:30
to the crowd, they know he needs quiet here. They give it to him.
Starting from the 20, a handoff to Winder. Andy Winder for 5. Sam Washington came up from the corner to make the tackle. David Little there as well, and we'll watch the clock for you. 3:20 left.
Reeves a little upset. The substitution late going on the field. He wanted Alexander out there. And big Daddy Wright coming off the field gives Elway a little bit of outside speed and takes the big tight end out of the ball game.
Second and 5 from the 25.
Just as Elway and his Bronco teammates felt they had dodged a fatal bullet when that field goal went to the left, suddenly the Pittsburgh defense jumps up and bites them, anticipating the play. Elway gunning the ball, throwing into coverage, and Eric Wright just stepped right in front of the receiver, moves all the way down the field. Eric Williams, not Eric Wright, gets all the way down, finally knocks out of bounds, but there's an excellent opportunity to get 7. And I'm sure that Gary Anderson, barring that, would love another chance at 3.
Elway watching the second-year man from North Carolina State take it all the way to the 2.
You've got to believe, too, that injury has something to do with it, Dick. He's not as sharp now as he was early in the ballgame.
Now, Denver, they've had some brilliant goal line stands this year. This will be their toughest test. Pollard toppled at the 1. Clock is running. 2:36, 2:35 left. And Chuck Noll probably saying the ideal thing for us would be to score on 4th down and use as much of that time as we can so that Denver won't have opportunity to come down and get one of their own. He said, keep it going there. Take your time.
Keep that clock moving. 2:17, 2:16, counting down. They've got to run a play. They can't just let it run out on the 30-second clock.
Pollard over the 100-yard mark. Fake to Abercrombie, wide open, and what a play by Mike Harden as he denied Darrell Nelson a touchdown. And the defense, that was one saving touchdown. Robbins, a rookie, has saved 2 others. Last-minute deflection.
You might ask, how in the world did he know the ball was arriving? He's reading the pass receiver, and as soon as his hands went up, Harden's hand shot out and touched that ball, and Chuck Noll, who had gambled with the play, who had run the play-action pass, knew that it was just a fraction of an inch away from a completion.
Gary Anderson, if the Steelers don't make it, may have another try. 3rd down. Pollard is stopped, but his second effort scores. And credit that to Pollard. They had him stopped at the line of scrimmage, and the big fullback from Baylor, second effort, has put it in the end zone.
Twice today, the Bronco defense has stopped Pollard short of the line, and Pollard's leg strength and determination has given him a touchdown. Boy, he has had an outstanding day here.
A season that began with the troubles involving the superstar Franco Harris, the fullback, and Harris ultimately, in a very painful decision for the Rooneys and Noll and Pittsburgh, did not play for this team this year. Pollard took his place and has saved his best game in his 5-year career for Denver today. Anderson to try the point. 1:59 will be left for Denver.
You'll see the surge of the line here. You'll see Pollard. He is hit in the backfield. Right there. Stopped. His legs knocked out momentarily, but he turned back inside, kept his balance, and came up to the goal line, popped that ball over, and then driven back. And what did Chuck Noll have to say about it? Well, I think he thought that's Steeler football.
And he may be writing his own fantastic finish in Denver today.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1970, Tom Dempsey will try to do the impossible, kick a 63-yard field goal. Joe Scarpati gets the ball down. Dempsey caught it solid, and it's good. Tom Dempsey has just kicked a 63-yard field goal. With no time left on the clock, the Saints beat the Lions 19-17.
Denver has all 3 of its timeouts. Anderson will kick it to Lang and Wilhite. For most of this day, his kickoffs have been so deep, the Broncos have had to take the touchback. He drives this one. And again, Wilhite in the end zone gambles. Oh, my, did he come scooting out of there to the 30-yard line. And Scoop Gillespie tripped him up. Elway stays in the game. Bad leg injury and a groin pull.
Kind of reminiscent of Robbie Bosco in that BYU Holiday Bowl. His injury bringing his BYU team back to a victory. There's Wilhite booming upfield. Boy, that hurts to hit on the back of your neck. And this hometown crowd encouraging Elway to get his Bronco offense in gear. They've got 71 yards to go to the end zone.
Watson is key receiver out of the picture to the left. And he had to throw that one away. Alexander, man-to-man coverage immediately following coverage. Will be airing the Silver Spoons program. We'd like to welcome those viewers that have just joined us. Denver and Pittsburgh here in the playoff challenge. The winner to go to Miami next week, and the Steelers lead the Broncos 24-17. There's the lineup on NBC tonight that will be capped off by one of the truly outstanding motion pictures of the last several years. Henry Fonda, almost a personal tribute to the man, as life would have it, on Golden Pond. Elway blitzed by Little. And it'll be 3rd and long, and Denver spends a timeout. The fourth sack.
Patrick Boland, Denver's owner, on the sideline looking on. I'm sure terribly concerned, but again, you've got to believe that a healthy John Elway would not have been trapped on that play as they ran the blitz inside. David Little, he's really kind of helpless in there now. He's a sitting target for that defense.
Well, there's 4 down territory now with the clock still running, 1:25. They have their 3 timeouts remaining, but now they need big yardage. There's Watson. Too tall for him, and he was open. That would have been a first down out at the 40-yard line.
Working one-on-one on Sam Washington. He got himself open. Again, under pressure. Took as much time as he could. Got that ball away, but slightly above Watson's head. Let's look at Steve Watson getting downfield now. Sam Washington will not let him get behind. Just barely too high to handle.
And there again, how much does that injury affect his ability to plant and get through on his throws? And when you can't do that, you tend to be high, especially when a man is draped all over you. Here today, congratulations. You'll have $1,000 donated to the United Way on behalf of Frank Pollard and his performance today. 107 yards for Pollard, his best day of the year.
He's got to be walking on air on that sideline, looking up at the clock, realizing with 1:20, 4th and more than 20 yards to go, it's going to be a tough situation for John Elway.
Elway with the ball at the 19-yard line. So it's 4th and 21 yards for a first down. He had his man, Watson, on the last play, but this is it. If he can't make 21 or more, the Pittsburgh Steelers will go to Miami.
The officials have taken a timeout briefly as they run down the field. Maybe we can take a chance to show you a few of the men who have contributed greatly to the success of these two teams during the year. The assistant coaches. Well, and there they're lined up. We'll wait till after this play. Now, there they are. Blackwood, Dungy, Fitzgerald, Hope, Hughes, Pogue, Myers, Moore. These are all Steeler assistants.
Yeah, they get little credit, but all the work, don't they?
They do a tremendous amount of work.
Here it is, 4th down. 21. 3-man rush. Elway needs something big. And there's it out deep, but it's out of bounds. And that's it. The Steelers can start to celebrate.
It will not be a year of celebration for Dan Reeves now that they are out of this situation and out of the playoffs, but they have had a fantastic season. Reeves and his assistant coaches have just really brought a team that was expected, even by their own scribes in Denver, to finish in the bottom third of the NFL. They have just had a tremendous year.
You saw Noel saying 3 timeouts. I don't know if he was referring to himself. He certainly wouldn't want to call time. Denver's already used one of theirs, so they have only 2.
Ron Blackledge there by the side of Chuck Noel, and you sense the disappointment. I think especially on the faces of the Denver Bronco veterans like Reuben Carter and Barney Chavis, some who've been around for a long time, Tom Jackson.
All right, use the timeout, and we want to acknowledge those who do the pictures and sounds from Denver today. Executive producer NBC student returned to the 2-yard line, and Frank Pollard's great running throughout the day. They have bested an injured John Elway and the Denver Broncos and earned a trip to Miami.
Dick, you were only a couple of yards away from having your prediction come true as Williams virtually got into the end zone, but he stepped out of bounds first, certainly setting up the touchdown score.
The Steelers, 3-5 lifetime against the Dolphins, but they've never won in Miami, and they weren't expected to be there this year. Remember, some were saying they wouldn't even make the playoffs if they struggled late in the season.
He's calling Mark Malone off the sideline. Keith Bishop, number 54, reflecting the very somber mood of the Broncos. And, Dick, every game like this has its what-ifs. But I'm sure here in Denver, the big what-if will be the question of what would have happened if John Elway had not been injured, if he hadn't hurt his groin, what that would have done in this second half for the Denver offense. There's no question it hurt him tremendously.
Now Denver cannot stop the clock. They've used their final timeout with 1:02 remaining. Now it's a matter, one of the things that I still feel football could improve if you didn't win the game by doing this, that you should make a legitimate attempt at trying to advance the football, but that's only one lonely voice in the crowd. 2017, and the clock will run, as will some of the tears.
Gerald Wilhite, Tom Jackson.
Bronco assistants you talked about, Merlin. Fran Polsfoot. He says, I just want to live long enough to see my Broncos in the Super Bowl. That dream won't come true. Boy, they played so hard for that man.
They have had a great year or two. There's no reason for this Bronco team to have anything but pride in the kind of season they've had. You saw the 2 leaders on the side, like Collier and Reeves.
Well, there's going to be one final opportunity for Denver, because with 26 seconds left and 4th and 14, as soon as the next snap is made and a touch of the quarterback, change of possession will stop the clock. So presumably the Broncos will have around 20 seconds left, a chance at a play or two in desperation. So Elway's arm will uncork again.
The one thing that has to go through the mind of Bronco fans and coaches and players alike is how well they have done with a young team, how far they've come. And they start with a big jump on next season. They will certainly be counted among the favorites for the playoffs in 1986.
Well, some would consider this a risk if indeed Anderson is going to try a field goal, and that a blocked field goal could bounce the other way. Presumably a 40-yard attempt to clinch the win.
This might be in an attempt to get his confidence back, Dick.
And that won't help. It's wide to the right. So Anderson, who has been brilliant and the most accurate of all active kickers, misses 3 out of 4 today. And he was barely good on the 28-yard shot. So it's the last chance for Denver.
He was so eager to get here today, and Elway goes on the field with just seconds left in the ball game, no timeouts. I think that they wanted to get this young man's confidence back. He cannot believe it. He cannot believe he can't get that ball between the uprights.
Well, the Broncos want to make their fans believe, many of whom have headed for home. Out of the shotgun, 22 seconds left and no timeouts for Elway. Watson, but he's in the field of play, and there's no way to stop the clock. 13, 12. Elway needs to take the snap and throw it on the ground, and he's not even doing that. Too late now. 1 second. He will have one play. 1 second left. Reminder to stay with us. Ahmad Rashad. Try to get some of the comments from the players involved in today's game, if time permits. I want to thank also the Corps de Costanza, our statistician. Efficient Joe, Al King, Ron Talpers, Ray Friedman, Cliff Dodge for their support in the booth. We'll be heading to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl on Tuesday, and then on to Miami for the AFC Championship game. The Dolphins apparently will play of the game unless there's a penalty. Look at the Steeler defense. They have been way back at the 25-yard line in their own half of the field. Even Elway's arm won't get to the other end zone.
Hoping for a penalty. They won't get it.
And the ball game's over. The Steelers have won it 24-17. So today, the day for the underdog. The Bears beat Washington, and Denver is up.
And the Oakland Raiders Stadium with it by dint of a courageous come-from-behind playoff victory over the world champion Miami Dolphins. The Pittsburgh Steelers earned the right to visit the Oakland Alameda County Stadium by their systematic destruction of the Buffalo Bills in the other AFC, beating a team that had shut them out 17-0 during the regular season at Pittsburgh. A shutout that had ended a 132-game, 10-year scoring string and had demoralized the then unstable Steeler offense. So on this day of the AFC Championship game, the Steelers should have been tight, right? Well, they should have been tight, but over the last few weeks of the season, their defense had gotten meaner than ever, and their offense had unloaded a sparkling double-barreled attack on all who faced them.